Shabbat Shalom, everyone. To those of you who are joining us on YouTube and on TempleShalom.com Live, welcome to all of you, and Shabbat Shalom as well. We begin as we turn to page 128 in our Siddur Mishkan Tefillah. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Right underneath those words on the same page, 128. Ma yafeh hayom Shabbat Shalom. 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 Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. If you will turn back to page 120, we find our blessing for lighting our candles as we welcome in Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu yehad mikneh shel Page 130, we begin to make our way through the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat as we bring ourselves out of a busy week into the peace of Shabbat. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina, l'Adonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina, l'Adonai. Naria, B'tzuri Shenu, B'kadma Fana B'toda. Naria, B'tzuri Shenu, B'tzmirot Nerialo. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina, Adonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina, Adonai. Page 131, the Hebrew paragraph at the bottom of the page, it's in the middle of Psalm 96. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz. May the heavens be happy and may the earth rejoice, and all of God's creation rejoicing in that very creation. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim. V'tagel haaretz, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagil haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Melo. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Melo. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagil haaretz. Page 132 from Psalm 97. In the middle of the psalm, it tells us that light is sown for the righteous and radiance for the upright. Or Zarua la Tzadik, Yishrei Lev Simcha. Those words are 4 lines from the bottom of the page in the Hebrew on page 132. Or Zarua la Tzadik, Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua la Tzadik, Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua la Tzadik, Yishrei Lev Simcha. Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua la Tzadik, Yishrei Lev Simcha. Yishrei Lev Simcha. Lai 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 lai. Or Zarua la Tzadik, Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua la Tzadik, Yishrei Lev Simcha. We'll continue on page 135 in Psalm 99. As at the bottom of the psalm, we'll read the psalm together from the top in Hebrew, and then we'll sing together the English or the Hebrew of the end of the psalm. Adonai enthroned on cherubim is sovereign. People tremble, the earth quakes. Adonai is great in Zion and exalted above all peoples. They praise your name as great and awesome. God is holy, mighty ruler who loves justice. It was you who established equity, you who worked righteous judgment in Jacob. Exalt Adonai our God and bow down to God's footstool. God is holy. Exalt Adonai our God and bow down toward God's holy hill, for Adonai our God is holy. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu lehar kodsho. On page 137. The last 2 lines of Psalm 29. May God grant strength to God's people. May God bestow upon God's people well-being. The psalm teaches us about God's power in the universe in very big ways and very little ways. And in each one of those ways, through the little channels and through the big channels, God brings strength and God brings well-being, or peace. It says Shalom, peace, well-being, and wholeness to all of us. Lai, 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 la 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 We welcome in the image of the Shabbat bride on page 139. We say, come meet the bride of Shabbat. We sing verses 1 and 4. We say 1 and 2 on page 138, verses 5 and 9 on page 139. Lecha lecha dodi, nikrat nikrat kala, penei penei, Shabbat mikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, nikrat nikrat kala, penei penei, Shabbat mikabela. La 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 la. Lecha dodi, nikrat nikrat kala, penei penei, Shabbat mikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, nikrat nikrat kala, penei penei, Shabbat. Shamor v'zachor b'diבור echad, Yishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'letfila, la 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 la, Echad odi, Igrat igrat chala, B'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. Echad echad odi, Igrat igrat chala, B'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki hi makor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tefila, la 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 la, echad odi, likrat likrat chala, b'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. Echad odi, likrat likrat chala, b'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. Kivaorech umi ori, uri uri shir daveri, kivod Adonai alayhi, la 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 la. Echad odi, likrat likrat chala, b'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. Echad odi, likrat likrat chala, b'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. We rise, we face the door, we welcome in the image of the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom, at Erev bala, Gam b'simcha uv'tzola, toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, la 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 la, Echad odi, likrat likrat chala, b'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat chala, b'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. La 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat likrat chala, b'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat chala, b'nei b'nei, Shabbat mikabela. And before you're all seated, as we're all standing, we've greeted the Shabbat bride, as is our tradition. We'll turn to the people to your left, your right, in front of you, behind them, and greet everybody with Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And for those of you who are joining us on YouTube, Shabbat Shalom to you. And for those of you on TempleShalom.com, Shabbat Shalom to all of you as well. Happy to have you with us. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wonderful to see all of you. Glad to have all of you. You too, even though you don't know what I'm saying. Shabbat Shalom, you too. Shabbat Shalom, you guys. Good to see you. Good to see you. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. How you doing? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome, greeted again. Hi, we haven't met yet, but Shabbat Shalom anyway. We'll meet later. It's all good. All right. All right. All righty. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We'll take our seats again. Wonderful to see so many of you this evening and many new faces among us as well. And again, to those of you online with us, Shabbat Shalom. We'll pretend that we shook hands with all of you, and happy to have all of you with us this evening for Shabbat. We turn to page 140 in our Siddur as we continue with Psalm 92, a psalm of Shabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, it is good to give thanks to God. Ulzamer l'shimcha elyon, and to sing of God's name most high. Mizmor Shir, Psalm 92, a psalm of Shabbat, page 140. Mizmor Shir l'yom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai. Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor Shir l'yom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai. Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Lahagid b'boker chastecha, ve'emunatecha b'liלות. Alei asor ve'alei ina ve'lalei higayon ve'chilor. Mizmor shir l'yom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai. Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. Ziratani Adonai b'fo'olecha, v'ma'asei yadecha arani. Ma gadlu ma'asecha Adonai me'od, amku machshevotecha. Mizmor shir l'yom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai. Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon, ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. We continue as we move out of our Kabbalat Shabbat and make our way into our Ma'ariv service, as we will turn to page number 144 as we'll make our way through Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkada v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'amad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izbahan kahari v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, ve'alamu amei amaya. Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Vitbar, Vitbiman, Vitnaseh, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shemei, Dukudisha, Richu, Le'ilam, and Koberchata, Vishirata, Tushbechata, Venechemata, Damihiron, Be'alma, Vimeru. Amen. Page 146. We'll rise for Baruch Hu. Lai la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach ve'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach ve'olam va'ed. We can all be seated. On page 148, we come to Ma'ariv Aravim, a prayer that gives thanks for creation. This week, we begin reading the book of Devarim, or in English, the book of Deuteronomy, although I think that's Latin and not English, but that's a whole other discussion. But each time we begin a new book of the Torah, we have a new opportunity for learning. We have this prayer, Ma'ariv Aravim, in our Siddur. In the morning, it's Yotzer Or, the morning prayer for creation. Yotzer Or, creator of light. Ma'ariv Aravim, the one who brings on evening for our evening prayers. And it's a reminder to think about creation. We only read about creation once. It's the very first chapter of, and then into the second chapter of the book of Genesis, the book of Bereshit. And then we move on from that and we get back to it a year later. But there's a reminder to us that we should think about creation more often. And each time we read a new book of the Torah, we create a new opportunity for some learning. We'll learn a little bit about this book a little later tonight. But Ma'ariv Aravim becomes a reminder for us to think about creation, the creation that we celebrate with Shabbat each week, and the creation that we have of each new book of the Torah, that we create a new opportunity for learning. We give thanks for all of those gifts of creation with this prayer for all those things in the evening sky of the moon and the stars and all of God's creation. In the middle of page 148, the top of the page. Before creation we say, Lai, 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach sharim ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים ומשמורותיהם ברדיו קיצונו. Lai 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 בורא יום ולילה גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שלו. Lai 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 אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב אביב. Lai 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 As we mentioned Torah and entering into a new book of Torah, we give thanks for that gift of Torah. We say Ahavat Olam. With this eternal love, you have loved us by giving us your loving gift of the lessons of your Torah. Page 150. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadita. Alkein Adonai Elohim Yishochim Nasiach B'Dikecha V'nismach B'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha Ve'olam va'ed Kihen Chayenu Ve'orech Yameinu U'vahem Neged Yomam Ve'layla Va'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. As we make our way into this new book of Devarim, of Deuteronomy, there's a lot of repetition from previous books. Moses is repeating a lot of lessons, and it might lead us to questions that we might have as we read together at the top of page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Page 152 and 153. We say, Shema Yisrael, listen, Israel. Heed, Israel. Obey, Israel. This word Shema means all of those things. We say, listen, Israel, Adonai is our God. Adonai is one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha, ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, emet. There's a debate in the Talmud about when we pray, is it more important that we pray in Hebrew Or is it more important that we understand what the words mean in the language we speak? And when the debate happened, the other language was Aramaic, so they weren't that far off from each other. And the conclusion that they draw in the Talmud, anybody know the answer? The answer is yes. Yes, it is. And that's the answer. So it's important that we pray in Hebrew. It's also important that we understand the words. And Maimonides, around the year in the 11th century, in the 1000s, Maimonides said that if you use a translation, you have to use a translation that is properly done, which leads to an interesting question. What does properly done mean? Does it mean that it should be translated as exactly as you can as a translator? Or does it mean that it should translate the essence of what the Hebrew means? And of course, the answer to that question is yes. Yes, it should. And so at the bottom of page 154 is a fairly decent literal translation. Of course, I'm a rabbi, so I argue with it because rabbis argue with each other, and I argue and I would translate a few words differently. But the essence of the prayer is also this beautiful poetic translation on page 155 that I thought we might read together in English and have the essence of the words we just said. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. So we turn to page 156. We come into the Geula, our prayer of redemption. We say we hold these truths to be true for all of us, that you are all of these things, you are truth, you are trustworthy with us, and because of that, we are your people, Israel. Emet ve'emunah, emet ve'emunah, emet ve'emunah, ozo ve'kayam aleinu, emet ve'emunah, ozo ki hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ein zulato va'anachnu Yisrael amo emet ve'emunah emet ve'emunah emet ve'emunah ozo ve'kayam aleinu emet ve'emunah ozo. We read responsively on page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. And we sing those words that they sang in ancient times, page 158. Who is like you, God, among the deities that are worshipped in the world, who would have the might to bring us out of slavery and towards freedom? Nichamocha, top of page 158. Nichamocha ba'elim Adonai, Nichamocha ne'edar b'kodesh, Noah tehilot, oseh felech, oseh felech, Nichamocha בים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלי אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. ונאמר כי פדד אדוני יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Baruch atah Adonai, Go'al Yisrael, praise to you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Page 160. We ask God to lie us down in peace, cause us to rise up again tomorrow to life, to protect us tonight through our sleep, from all those things that may disturb us as we slumber. When we rise tomorrow, may we be sheltered underneath the wings of your shelter and the shelter of your peace. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu v'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu v'chayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu v'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu v'chayim. Those three lines that are indented near the end of the Hebrew. Ushor tzitenu uvoenu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'adolam. Laila 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 Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu v'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu v'chayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu v'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu v'chayim. Shomreinu v'chayim. Baruch atah Adonai Apurei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162, we read together in the English in the middle of the page. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat. Observing Shabbat throughout the ages is a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam v'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam v'olam. V'nivei b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam v'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz לעשות את השבת לדורותם ולעולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. We rise as we come to the Amidah, beginning on page 164. We'll sing the Zimun, this meditation, together to bring us into our Amidah. The even pages have the traditional prayers, the odd pages have translations as well as poetic renditions. After the first few paragraphs, we'll take time for our own silent prayer. When you've made your way through 180 or 181, if you're following the pages, or your own prayers that you find in your own heart, you'll be seated and we'll join back together. We begin here on 164 as we say, open up my lips so I can declare praises to God. Adonai, sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Gula Livnei V'neihem, L'man Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Abraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechai HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, B'Shenei Afar, Nichamocha Ba'gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimit, Umechayeh, Umatmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah L'chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol, Atah Kadosh, U'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yehallelu Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue silently. 178. Shalom Rach al Yisrael Amcha Kasim Leolam. Shalom Rach al Yisrael Amcha Kasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rach al Yisrael Amcha Kasim Leolam. Shalom Rach al Yisrael Amcha Kasim Leolam. Yitov beinecha levarech bedamcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה ישלומך. Shalom Rach al Yisrael Amcha Kasim Leolam. Shalom Rach al Yisrael Amcha Kasim Leolam. Kasim Leolam. Kasim Leolam. Every once in a while, when I look at social media, which is all I ever do is every once in a while I look at it, and I scroll through a couple of things, and I see that meme that always seems to pop up. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. It's nice, isn't it? In a world where you can be anything, be kind. It works a lot of the time. But sometimes it doesn't work. Moses was not kind to Pharaoh in Egypt because in that world, Moses did not need to be kind. It would have been the wrong thing. So in a world where you can be anything, be kind, it works sometimes. But really, in a world where you can be anything, the meme should say, in a world where you can be anything, be the thing that you're supposed to be in that moment. It's a much longer meme and it doesn't look as nice, but it's probably the right answer. And we get that example from Moses, because Moses is many different things in the Torah. When we first meet Moses, he is a child of royalty. He's been drawn out of the river and he's taken into the Pharaoh's home, and he is perhaps out of place. I don't know if any of you have ever felt out of place. I'm guessing probably never. But there's an occasion where the thing that we need to be is out of place. And I'm convinced that had Moses not felt out of place in Pharaoh's court at the beginning of his life, Moses would not be the Moses that we know, because Moses needed to be out of place in order to become the Moses that led us through the desert. And so sometimes we should be the person that's out of place because we need to be. And then in the next phase of Moses' life, Moses becomes a shepherd in the desert. What did he do besides being a shepherd? We don't know. The Torah said he spent 40 years in the desert. He married and he had kids. And what is that, an elephant? What is that? It's an elephant. Moses did not take care of elephants in the desert. It was sheep. I just want to make sure that no one mistake that it would be that elephant. It wasn't. It was sheep. But Moses spent 40 years in the desert monitoring sheep. 40 years. He got married. He knew the people. He knew the neighbors over there. He knew the neighbors over there. But he just raised sheep. Sheep are important. I mean, they give wool. And in some places they become dinner. And in some places they make cheese and things, but it doesn't have the thing of in the Pharaoh's court, or the guy who led us through the desert to freedom. No, it's just, he raised sheep. Sometimes we need to be the person who just did whatever it is that we do, because whatever it is that we do makes the world a better place, just because the simple thing that we do collectively makes that happen. And then in the last third of his life, he becomes a few more things. First, he becomes the guy who faces down Pharaoh, herding sheep to facing off against the most powerful king in the world. And then we left Egypt, and he became the guy who scolded us. Quit kvetching. Moses, we left Egypt, and my sandals are full of mud. Moses, we left Egypt, and there's no water. Moses, we left Egypt, and there's no food. Okay, you gave us the manna, I'm sick of manna. Okay, so you gave us pheasants to eat, I'm sick of pheasant. I want a steak. And Moses has to tell them, would you please, in very polite words, of course, Moses told them, would you please just shut up already? You people are annoying me. Not only that, but in the Torah, in this very week's Torah portion, God, speaking through Moses, says to the people, I couldn't handle you people. All your moaning and complaining. I can't deal with all of your kvetching. God actually says that. God doesn't say kvetching, but we translate it to kvetching. It works. And Moses has to be the one who scolds us. Things are good. Don't look at only the bad. And then Moses goes up the mountain and brings laws to us. Moses becomes our judge and our policeman and our lawgiver. But here in the book of Deuteronomy, Moses becomes the final aspect, the final Moses that we see. Moshe Rabbeinu, we say in Hebrew. Moses, our rabbi, or probably a better translation, Moses, our teacher. The harshness of the scolding from back in the book of Exodus and the minutia of the law in the book of Leviticus, it seems to mellow a little bit. And Moses sends us on a pathway of love and of kindness and what's doing right in the world by becoming our teacher and our guide and our example. Moses was out of place. Moses was royalty. Moses was mundane. Moses was a liberator. Moses was a lawgiver. And Moses was a teacher. Same guy, different places, different times. As we enter into the book of Deuteronomy, it's a lesson for all of us. What should you be? Be kind. That's cute. And sometimes it's good, because there are times where we should be kind. But what we should be is what we need to be at each moment in time as we pass through our own lives and through the lives of everyone else. And so as we get closer, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, I didn't look because I don't want to know, till Erev Rosh Hashanah. I think it's, Rosh Hashanah, I think it's like 9 months from now, I think. But it's really like 8 weeks from now. But I don't want to think about that yet, because we haven't made it through the summer yet. But as we go through this final book of the Torah, and we go on this journey, Tisha B'Av is Wednesday night, where we observe the memorial of the destruction of the temple. It's the lowest point in the Jewish holiday calendar. And we'll get to the High Holy Days, which are the highest point on the Jewish calendar. As we make our way from the low point to the high point on the calendar, and as perhaps we make our way from low points to high points in our lives, may we be what we need to be in each moment and in each place, that we might follow the example that Moses gave for all of us. Amen. We take a moment to think of those who are in need of healing. We ask for God to bring refuah shlema bimhera v'yamenu, complete healing and quickly in our time. We ask for God to bring healing for Brian Zabel Gnendel bat Sima, Avraham ben Meir, Tova bat Rasha, Fran Hart, Aharon ben Avraham Basara, Larry Ritterband, Sarah Tischler, Kayla Vreek, Lila Vreek, Stanley Sachs, Karen Thursby, Alan and Ancil Tirlupis, Kelly Fuentes, Paltiela bat Basha, Dvora Esther bat Moshe, Ellen Weiss, Tommy Elledge, Batsheva bat Sprintza, Suri Shaddai ben Sara, Bela bat Sura Herschel, Malka bat Sara, Sarah Mandel, and Lynn Kaplan. If we have other names for healing, we'll start on this side. If anybody has names for healing. Maggie? Thank you. Any others on this side of the room, names for healing? On this side of the room, any names for healing? Thank you. Any others on this side? For all, yes. Thank you. Any others? For all those we've named, for all those in need, we turn to page 371 in the middle of the page as we ask God to bring complete healing to each and every one. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We turn to page 586 as we rise for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit g'dula l'yotzeh b'reishit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu notei shamayim veyoser haaretz Umoshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al Ushchinatu zo Begovei meromim Hu Eloheinu einod Emet malkeinu efes ulato Kakatu betorato yadata hayom v'hashivota elevavecha ki Adonai hua Elohim b'shamayim mima'al ve'al ha'aretz mitachat ein od. The middle of 590. Ki ha'malchut shelcha hi olamei atimloch bechavod. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar v'ya Adonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad, Ushemo echad. We can be seated. In our yard sites this week, We recall the memories of Milton Bartner, Sadie Weiss, Ira Perry, Dorothy Heiser, Eva Parker, Jim Colvin, Richard Lewis, Sylvia Weisberg, Edward Dymek, Helene Shiner, Ida Crone, Julius Albert, William Goodman, Ann Suskin, Benjamin Wenger, Elaine Sherman, Aaron Goldenberg, Edith Nasbarg, Jerry Weber, Irving Milgram, Marilyn Friedman, and George Nacht. We are nearing the end of Shloshim for June Mayer, and we are in the period of Shiva for Sherry Clayton. Are there any other yard sites that anyone is observing this week? Thank you. Any others? Yehiyu zichronam levracha. May their memories be an eternal blessing. We turn to page 598. We ask mourners to rise and those whose custom it is to stand as well. As in their memory we sanctify God's name. V'yit gadal, v'yit kadash, shemei rabbah. Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'zban kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach leolam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudisha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata de'amiran ve'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'yimromav huya aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. We can all be seated before we bring our service to a close. We have, Carolyn has a few announcements for us of upcoming stuff and other information that you need to know.
Thank you all for joining us this Erev Shabbat for our service. If you are new to the temple or visiting, please introduce yourselves and let us welcome you. Thank you, Rabbi Jay, for leading us this evening, and thanks to everyone who participated in the service. Save this date right now, August 26th from 7 o'clock to whenever we leave. The doors opened at 6:45. A farewell Havdalah to honor Elena Rathman for her 20-plus years service to Temple Shalom as teacher, board member, director of education and engagement, executive director, etc. The committee to honor Elena will accept any and all sponsorships for this honoring event. ASAP, please. Please, twice. When you register at templeshalom.com, there is a link to sponsor should you decide to do so. And you must register. Or look for a link in the next weekly email or monthly bulletin for registration and sponsorship. If you have any questions, contact Judy Oppenheim. She's not here tonight. You can contact me. I will probably give you a wrong answer, but I'll try.
You'll get them in contact with Judy.
I'll get them in contact with Judy.
Perfect.
There we go. Yeah. Dates in July to save on your calendar. Our Judaica and Book Fair continues. It's in the back. Please peruse, cruise, and purchase. It continues through Sunday, the 23rd, in our social hall. One person's trash is another person's treasure, don't forget. These are books and Judaica that are duplicates that we have at Temple Shalom. On Wednesday, the 26th, there will be an Erev Tish B'Av study from 7 to 9 with Rabbi Jay. And Friday, the 28th, a fourth Friday Shabbat potluck dinner and service. Please register at templeshalom.com. Dates again in August, the 5th. Our own Robert Footlick is starting a new class, Learning to be a Gabbai. This is a free class with one prerequisite: you must be able to read Hebrew. The class will go on for 6 Saturdays from 1 to 2 after services. Please register as soon as you can to get at templeshalom.com. August 11th, Friday's Erev Shabbat service will be at the Garden of the Gods Park. You have to.
Actually,
No, you've
we
changed
it. It's August 18th.
Okay, August
It's a
18th.
typo.
Typo.
August 18th, be there.
Be there.
You
And-
can go to Garden of the Gods on August 11th. We won't be there,
No,
but it's
it'll be-
beautiful.
It's fun. It'll be pretty.
Yeah.
It'll be more fun with Rabbi leading the service. Okay. Members, you should have received your membership renewal forms by mail like a couple of months ago. Please review and submit your form online. If you have any questions, contact the office. He's waving back there. Wave. That's Kobe. July is here, and we want to hear from you. Me especially, I'm the treasurer, yes. Remember. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, thanks to everyone who've already submitted their membership renewal forms. Really, I thank you. Our temple staff are still very grateful for the uptick in proactive registrations. We love it when you register. For security's sake, please don't open the door to let anyone in or prop it open to keep the door open to go outside or return. If you have any questions, please call the office. If you know of any temple members who are ill, hospitalized, or suffering from a loss, I told you it was a whole page, please contact the temple office so we can be sure to provide encouragement and support. Thank you to Temple Shalom for the oneg this evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. There was a lot of announcements, huh? Well, we'll turn to page 186 as we begin our morning blessings for Shabbat. There was a lot of announcements. Went all the way to the morning. Page 625 is really where you want to be. The morning service really does start on page 186 in this book, but we're not going there. Page 625. Adon Olam Hashem Allah B'terem Bo Yitzir Nivra Et Nasa V'Tepsoko Azai Melech Shimonika It's Menat kosi ve'oneka ve'yado ve'hiruhi ve'etishan ve'aliyah ve'hiruhi ve'bihati Adonai Adonai li Elohira Adonai Hashem Alakiter Koyis in your body in the Sabbath Kasakola Tana Hashem on the Kabi Akare Kilodo Evader Yinosan Rabu Ayabu Whoever Yebekipa Adonai Hashem Alakiter Koyis in your body in the Sabbath Kasakola Tana Hashem on the Kabi Akare Kilodo Evader Yinosan Rabu Ayabu Whoever Bara Ayabu Whoever Bara Ayabu Whoever Betifara Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Because we have the book fair and Judaica fair going on, we're going to make Kiddush and Motzi here in the sanctuary. And then I believe at the very, very back of the Judaica fair, there are some munchies for us to share. And you can, my recommendation, I mean, you don't have to follow it, but you should. My recommendation is while you're eating a cookie, you pick a book to buy. While you're eating a slice of challah, you buy another book. While you're eating a piece of fruit, I don't know what's back there. Is there any fruit? While you're eating your second cookie, vegetable, you eat a vegetable, you buy a Judaica item. It's all perfect. Maggie will take down what you're going to owe, and later on in the week he'll give it to us. But we'll make Kiddush and Motzi here for everyone. There's Kiddush cups coming around, so if you don't have one yet, you'll have one momentarily. We can all rise because we have to all stand for Kiddush. Vayhi Erev Yivokir Yom HaShishi, Vayichulu HaShamayim V'Aretz Kol Tzva'am, V'Yechol Elohim B'Yom HaShvi Motor Asher Asah, V'Yishbot B'Yom HaShvi Mikol Motor Asher Asah, V'Yivarech Elohim Et Yom HaShvi V'Kideshoto, Ki Bo Shabbat Mikol Motor Asher Bara, Elohim La'asot Savri Chaverai, L'chaim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Borei Pori HaGafen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Kidshanu B'mitzvotav V'ratzavanu B'Shabbat Kodsho Be'ahava U'bratzon Inchilanu Zikaron L'Maaseh V'Reishit Ki Hu Yom Techila L'Migrae Kodesh Zecher L'Tziyat Mitzrayim Ki Banu V'Charta V'Otanu Kidashta Mikol Ha'amim B'Shabbat Kodshecha Be'ahava Uvratzon Inchaltanu Baruch Atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Hamotzi Lechem Min Haaretz V'Te'avon. If you'd like a little challah, it's right here on the edge of the piano. Come get some. Make your way through the book fair. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. For those of you online with us, Shabbat Shalom to you as well. And remember, there's cookies and other great stuff at the very back of the social hall. Don't forget to look at the books of Judaica on your way back. Shabbat Shalom.